Imagine this: abandoned supercars just left to rot in parking lots. That is just how rich Dubai is today. Yet, just a few decades ago, this very location was a poor fishing village, a place where the primary occupation of the people was a rapidly declining industry. So, how did this transformation occur? How does a place go from this to this? You might think the answer is oil, and you are correct. But many other cities and nations have discovered oil, some with even more than Dubai. Yet, most haven't turned that oil into the same kind of economic success. Take Venezuela, for example, a nation with the world's largest oil reserves, yet plagued by corruption, hyperinflation, and poverty. So, what is Dubai's unique approach? How did they succeed where others failed? Today, we will examine 5 key factors that shaped Dubai's economic success: the initial oil boom, economic diversification, infrastructure development, the establishment of a luxury tourism brand, and most importantly, the exploitation of slave labor. Let's get into it. Alright, so long before it became a symbol of modern riches, Dubai faced a big economic problem. You see, Dubai was once a small fishing and pearl diving village, using their strategic location along ancient trade routes to sell pearls to merchant traders. Yet, the city was underdeveloped, and the economic conditions was fragile. You may have never heard of the pearl diving industry, and that's understandable. This is an out-of-fashion industry that had been declining since the 1920s. The real trouble actually began with the Great Depression starting in 1929, which hit Dubai just as hard as it hit the rest of the world. At the time, Dubai's economy was heavily reliant on pearl diving, a centuries-old tradition that had made these Persian Gulf regions famous for its high-quality pearls. These gems were famous among the rich people in Western Europe and America. So, when the Great Depression caused a sudden demand stop on luxury items, prices plummeted. As prices plummeted, many pearl divers found themselves out of work and the local economy suffered. The situation was made worse by the introduction of Japanese cultural pearls. These man-made pearls were cheaper, can be produced in large quantities as opposed to the extremely rare natural pearls, looks pretty much the same as natural pearls, at least to the naked eye, and overall more attractive for buyers seeking high-status items at a lower cost. The influx of these cultural pearls flooded the market, driving down the prices of natural pearls from Dubai. As a result, Dubai's economy stagnated, and its infrastructure remained underdeveloped up until the 1960s. The city actually managed to scrape by as a supply point for merchant ships en route to other regions, but this was far from enough to ignite any significant economic growth or modernization. The discovery of oil in 1966 changed everything, transforming Dubai from a modest trading post into a thriving city. Suddenly, Dubai was able to use its strategic location to the fullest extent. One of the immediate priorities was to invest in infrastructure, and oil provided Dubai with the financial power to invest heavily on this. They built roads and bridges to improve connectivity within the city and with neighboring regions. Port Rashid's construction in 1972 transformed Dubai into a major shipping hub, while the opening of Dubai International Airport in 1971 allowed Dubai to become a link between the East and the West. Today, it is still one of the busiest airports in the world, connecting Dubai to over 240 destinations. Now, unlike many resource-rich economies that fail to capitalize on their natural wealth, Dubai leveraged its oil wealth to build a diverse economy with multiple income sources. While countries like Venezuela spiraled into economic turmoil due to mismanagement and corruption, Dubai's leaders knew well that oil reserves wouldn't last forever. So, they swiftly diversified the economy with infrastructure development as the first main priority. It sounds really simple and obvious, but remember, this kind of logical thinking is pretty rare when it comes to economies, especially in the 1970s when oil seemed pretty much endless. Furthermore, the political structure of the UAE, formed in 1971, really helped to provide a stable and supportive environment for economic growth. The federal system allowed Dubai to retain a significant portion of its oil revenues, while benefiting from the stability and resources of the federation. By the late 1980s, Dubai's economy had pretty much diversified, making it less and less dependent on oil over time. Let's talk more about this diversification. What exactly did Dubai do to ensure its economy was not solely reliant on oil? Well, the first key strategy was to focus on building world-class infrastructure, as we've touched on before. A pivotal moment in Dubai's development was the construction of the Jebel Ali port in 1979, the largest man-made harbor in the world that made Dubai a thriving trade hub. Of course, developing a large port doesn't automatically turn a city into a trade superpower. You need far more than just impressive infrastructure. You need a business-friendly environment, efficient logistics, clear regulations that actually benefits large corporations, and above all, political stability is extremely crucial. Companies are naturally drawn to places where they can operate smoothly, with abundant cheap labor, favorable conditions, and minimal risk of losing assets due to political uprisings or corrupt officials. Infrastructure development yields results only when it's planned and executed correctly. Not every infrastructure growth leads to success. How you utilize these assets matters even more. Sri Lanka is a good example of where infrastructure development actually backfires on the economy. We'll talk about this in another video. The availability of cheap foreign labor played a crucial role in all of this, and we will talk more about the precarious condition of these workers as well. But for now, know that Dubai has become a magnet for expatriate workers from India, Pakistan, and other regions, who played a huge role in the city's rapid development. These workers were essential in building Dubai's infrastructure and maintaining its various services, often working for much lower wages than in Western countries, even when adjusted for living costs. When it comes to creating a business-friendly environment, Dubai's genius lies in its use of free trade zones. The Jebel Ali Free Zone, established in 1985, is a great example, offering a plethora of incentives like full foreign ownership, no personal or corporate taxes, and no import or export duties. These irresistible benefits attracted global giants such as Procter & Gamble, Unilever, and Sony, all setting up their regional headquarters in Dubai. The city's strategic location, just an 8-hour flight radius covering 2/3 of the world's population, further cemented its status as an ideal international trade hub. Another example is Dubai Internet City, established in 1999, right during the peak of the dot-com bubble in the US. This free trade zone took advantage of the booming tech scene and quickly became a hotspot for big names like Microsoft, Google, and IBM, setting up their main Middle East operations here, showing just how adaptable Dubai is in keeping up with the business trend. This internet city attracted tech companies of all sizes, offering huge perks like cheap labor, a strategic location, and zero taxes and customs duties for the first 50 years. That is Dubai's genius strategy in a nutshell. They used the concept of specialized free trade zones to attract companies from specific sectors, each tailored to maximize the profitability and efficiency of the business within them. By introducing laws and regulations specifically designed for each industry, Dubai ensures that companies can thrive in an optimal environment to make lots of money. For example, Dubai International Financial Center is a dedicated zone for banks and financial institutions, like its name, offering regulations that help maximize profits for banks. Similarly, Dubai Media City has become a hub for media and advertising companies, providing state-of-the-art infrastructure and tax exemptions to attract top players in the industry. These strategic moves have transformed Dubai into a global business powerhouse, using a targeted approach to attract businesses into the city. Now, let's talk about what Dubai is most known about: a top tourist destination. Mega projects like the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building, and the iconic sail-shaped Burj Al Arab Hotel. These projects, while extremely expensive to build, did position Dubai as a global luxury icon, attracting investment and tourism dollars. Dubai's tourism sector caters to high-end travelers looking to spend on luxury experiences, which in turn stimulates the local economy. From desert safaris and luxury yacht cruises to high-end dining and shopping festivals, the city of Dubai offers entertainment that particularly caters to rich people. Of course, the fact that Dubai is now known as the go-to luxury destination owes much of its success to its brilliant branding strategy. The city has positioned itself as a playground for the wealthy, with its iconic skyline, extravagant lifestyle, and high-profile events. Although the Qatar World Cup in 2022 took place next door, Dubai still reaps significant benefits from the influx of tourists coming to the Middle East. And when you're talking about Dubai, you cannot avoid talking about its booming real estate market. Historically, Dubai's property market has outperformed many other major cities, generating 120% returns for investors over the decade following the 2008 financial crisis, compared to 75% in London and 63% in New York. Despite these high returns, Dubai also remains one of the most affordable major cities for the rich to buy property. In 2022, $1 million could buy 105 square meters of luxury property in Dubai, compared to just 21 in Hong Kong, 33 in New York, and 34 in both London and Singapore. Now, beneath the glittering surface, Dubai's rapid development came at a significant human cost. The city's success is built on the backs of millions of poorly treated migrant workers, which is quite crazy to say considering that immigrants make up 90% of Dubai's population. These workers, mainly coming from countries such as India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the Philippines, arrive with the hope of providing a better future for their families back home. However, the reality they face is far too different from the land of hope that these people often imagine. Central to this issue is the kafala system, a sponsorship arrangement that binds workers to their employers. Under this system, low-skilled laborers often endure harsh working conditions, long hours, and minimal pay. On paper, the kafala system grants employees multiple basic employee rights like annual and maternity leave, and a guaranteed paycheck each month. The reality? Not so good. While most media coverage tends to focus on Dubai's luxury skyscrapers and hotels, the stories of these workers were often ignored. One significant issue they face is the recruitment fee people must pay to actually go to Dubai and secure a job there. Imagine spending your life savings to get a job, only to find out later that the job you're working isn't even worth it, let alone paying money to get that job in the first place. Many workers actually take on lots of debt to afford these fees, hoping that they could find work in such a rich city, only to find out later that their salaries could barely cover the repayment, let alone to provide for their families. Upon arrival, migrant workers often have passports taken by their employers under the excuse of visa validation or something like that. They are then made to sign lengthy contracts, often in languages they do not understand, and find themselves living in packed accommodations, Not to mention the sudden wage cuts out of thin air, lack of access to basic medical services, and especially for conditions resulting from poor working environments. So, despite Dubai's massive economic success, it is deeply disappointing that a lot of migrant workers who are the backbone to this success are treated so harshly. Every towering skyscraper, lavish hotel, and state-of-the-art service that defines Dubai has been built on the hard work and sacrifices of these often overlooked individuals. And these people's contribution to the city's development should be rewarded, not exploited. This is Doverhill, and see you next time.